Welcome into the Vegas Squares podcast, where we discuss all things sports and sports betting. Presented by 12 Ounce Sports Radio. All right, welcome to the Vegas Squares podcast. In this episode, we are going to be talking about the two conference championship games that will be taking place Friday night, November 30th. We have the MAC and the PAC. MAC Conference Championship and the Pac-12. The matchups are for the MAC, Northern Illinois versus Buffalo at Ford Field, where Token Tony's beloved Lions don't do much winning. And then we have the Pac-12 Championship versus Utah versus Washington at Levi's in Santa Clara, where the 49ers don't do much winning either. So, with me, I have Token Tony on the phone, and I have Tony Johnson in studio. What's up, gentlemen?
Not much. How's everything going?
Good. Everything, things are good. Things are really, really good. We were just talking briefly off the air about this nice Friday game that the Pac-12 has, and while ratings are unknown, it's kind of nice to break up all of these championship games because I know a lot of them on Saturday are all at the same time, so it's kind of hard to watch everything. So this is
not in the man cave. You got multiple viewing screens.
That's true.
Or in the sports books. Well, but yeah. You're right. Yeah, you're right.
But yes, in a real sense of not having this crazy ass man cave or sportsbook at your disposal, then yeah,
I will say the one thing I don't like about Championship Saturday is that there are games on TV that aren't championship games. Usually it's makeup games or what have you.
Right.
But, you know, I mean, for Virginia Tech, they're 5-6. I guess they're going to need this to get a bowl game.
They sure are. That's why it's there.
Yeah, but South Carolina playing Akron makeup game. I mean, meh.
Another team that I believe needs it, right?
They're 6-5.
Oh, they are 6-5.
They are going to be bowl eligible, but I mean, Drake and Iowa State, Eastern Carolina at NC State. I mean, a lot of these games are at home for the bigger program, so I guess it's just promising to season ticket holders that extra game.
Yeah, Liberty, Norfolk State.
Yeah, I mean, Liberty could get into a bowl, or they're not a bowl eligible, right?
They're not.
Because they're that whole...
Yeah, they're 5-6 right now.
So I'm looking at all of these non-championship games, and Virginia Tech is the only one with actually something to play for. And they don't have a slouch. They got Marshall. So, But we're not here to talk about those. We're here to talk about the two conference championship games. The first game, we'll start with the MAC, because Tony is going to be on the road. I don't know if you could say covering this, but Token Tony will be watching with bated breath from Ford Field. Correct, Token?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I see tickets as low as $4 right now.
Nice.
You're going to have to pay more for parking than your actual ticket, probably.
That is true. That is, I don't know if that's sad or you're happy about that.
Yeah, no, the last time I was at Ford Field, the Labatt Blues were like $6 each, so yeah, for sure.
Pay more for your Labatts than your ticket. Are the Lions tickets
I haven't had one of those in a while, yeah.
Me either.
So, Token, are the Lions tickets going down to $4 too, since they've all but been eliminated from NFL contention?
Not quite that low, but much lower than face value for sure.
All right. Well, we've got a team here in Buffalo that's been playing pretty damn well this year. They are 10-2, traveling to Detroit to face a Northern Illinois team that is 7-5. Northern Illinois team that I believe has been in this MAC championship a lot over the last decade or so, playing really good defense this year. But it's going to be, the Buffalo Bulls are 53rd in the country in offense, averaging 420 yards a game. And while the Northern Illinois offense is not quite as good, they are actually the 125th in offense. So it's going to be all on the shoulders of the Northern Illinois Husky defense if they want to be conference championships, or they want to be conference champions this year. Not a lot, as far as other than those two stats. Not a lot different. I mean, the Bulls are holding teams to 23 points a game, or 24 points a game overall. Northern Illinois is holding them to 21 points a game. The difference is the offensive output. Buffalo scoring 35, Northern Illinois only scoring 20. The line currently, the two lines in this right now are Buffalo is a 3.5-point favorite. The total is 51 in this spot. Tony Johnson, you were so excited to talk about Friday Night Football. You can lead us off.
Absolutely. I'm excited. I really am. This is I always watch, just like Token over there, I always watch the MAC championship games. I like the MAC anyway in general. And this is an interesting one because we've seen, as you correctly said, Northern Illinois has been here a lot. They've had a similar type of team for the most part, and this one is a little bit different in the sense that, as you said, their offense has really sputtered and struggled immensely this season, I think for a couple of strong reasons. They don't have a great running back seemingly this year, and quarterback-wise, that run-pass option has not been great, comparatively speaking, to previous seasons. But, as you said, they've made up for it on defense, and they've played a bear of a schedule. They've played some really, really strong teams in BYU and Utah on the road, and
beat BYU
7-6, a very odd sort of game, a game that they've made a living out of this year. But all of that said, I don't like how Northern has sort of limped to the finish line here. They clinched their part of the conference a couple of weeks ago and then proceeded to lose 2 games after that, and that doesn't usually bode well going forward. It's hard to turn the faucet on and off in these types of spots. And while, again, I like how they have played a stronger schedule and they've seen some really good teams, Buffalo has played weaker opponents, but they've looked a lot better, especially on offense. As you said, they got a lot of NFL players on this team. Tyree Jackson is no doubt will be a quarterback looked at in the next level. And added on to Anthony Johnson, great wide receiver there, who is also a next-level guy. Another player named KJ Osborne has really emerged as well. A young redshirt, I think he's a redshirt sophomore, and he's been great. When Johnson was out for a few games, Osborne came in and played really well. He'll stretch the field on all levels, and he's a nice big target too, just like Johnson. So I really like what Buffalo has done. I like this team. It looks like they're all moving forward nicely. They needed to win last week to clinch a spot here, and they did that convincingly. And I just like where everything is rolling. I haven't actually put the money down yet or been to the window, but my lean is on the favorite here on Buffalo -3.5. And I think there's an outside chance this game may not be all that close, too. I think if Buffalo really comes together and puts it all there, I think they could actually beat Northern by double digits here. So my lean is, I have a strong lean here on Buffalo -3.5.
Fair point on that. I'm actually going the other way. I think Northern Illinois' defense is going to be able to stop Buffalo moving forward and keep Tyree to minimal gains at most, just maybe barely move the sticks, if that. I think they just cause a lot of 3-and-outs in that situation. And on offense, they can run the ball with Harbison and keep this low but close. And I believe Northern Illinois wins this game outright by a field goal, and the under comes in.
Fair enough. I'm actually right in between you guys. I think Buffalo will win and be the champions, but I do believe in Illinois covering that 3.5 points. I believe it's Buffalo probably by a field goal in this juncture. Northern Illinois beat them last year. Close, low-scoring game. Obviously, year to year is different. But Northern Illinois, in my opinion, has a better track record and more experience in these MAC games. Most of the time in the MAC East, it's usually Miami of Ohio or Ohio getting into the MAC title game from the East. So I'm not saying Buffalo doesn't have a chance here, because I believe that, again, they will win the game outright. But give me Northern Illinois plus 3.5. Not sure on the total. I'm going to guess if Northern Illinois covers, it's got to go under because their offense stinks. So that's my thought process when it comes to that. I mean, it's not like a 19-point-per-game team is going to all of a sudden explode for 40. I mean, Buffalo plays some lick of defense in that spot. So,
yeah, I see like 24-21, something around there.
Yeah, I was going to say even probably lower than that, 17-14-ish range or 17-16 range. So, all right, well, I guess we're against each other on that one. Let's move over to the Pac-12 matchup, which is Utah and Washington. We just talked about this. It's like, a lot of these people clamoring for expansion of playoffs where the Power 5 all gets an automatic berth. The winner of this game in an expanded playoff format would be your representative. I mean, 10-3 is not a terrible, thing, but do you believe either of these two teams, Utah or Washington, could really win a national title this year? Well, let me ask you a better question. Could UCF at full strength beat these teams?
I know. There it is. We finally broke the ice. It's great. That's nice.
I agree, yes, that UCF would be able to beat both of these teams at full strength.
Wow.
All right, fair enough.
That's a bold statement.
Well, we got the Huskies are 5.5-point favorites. Total right now live is 45. Tony Johnson, take it away.
Yeah, the total looks super low, but it makes a lot of sense to me. This appears to have to be a defensive battle. These are two great defensive coaches, and there's no question there. And this is what these two teams rely on to win games and to stay in games. And I like a lot what Washington has done recently here. They've actually added some depth in their defensive backfield and in their linebacking core, and they're playing a lot more seniors than were starting earlier in the season. And these guys have risen to the challenge, and they've looked a lot better on the defensive side of the ball. So, adding on to the senior fact, there's Jake Browning and Myles Gaskin are two long-time 4-year starters here for Washington that'll be making their final games, and I just can't see Washington fading in this spot. It would be surprising to me that they would go away. And on the flip side, Utah is using now backup quarterback and running back, and quarterback Shelley has looked pretty good filling in for Huntley so far. He is not a threat with his legs like Huntley was, but he's been very accurate down the field and looked strong for Utah. And Armand Shine has not really been much of a difference from Zach Moss at the running back position. He's a little bit faster, a little bit more shifty. He's not making as many great decisions at the line and where to go with the ball, and that's to be expected. He hasn't really started very many games, but he's a nice, good young talent, and I like what we're seeing here. So I'm a little bit biased in this sense. I have two future bets that are to be determined here in this week, and one of them is Utah to win the Pac-12. So I'm certainly going to be rooting for Utah in that sense, although I didn't expect the team to look like this necessarily at this point in the season. But and I didn't really want them to face Washington. That was the team I definitely didn't want. But I do think Washington's going to win this game, and like you had, I think, talked about in the previous game, Aaron, I'm just not sure they're going to cover in this one, despite it being a pretty low amount of points. So I like Washington to win. I'm not going to be betting on this one just because I need to be rooting for Utah, and it's just kind of an awkward spot. If I actually had to bet, though, I think the old gun-to-the-head routine, I would probably bet the under here, 45, because it's just these defenses are both so strong, and you'd have to have some fluke things go on for a lot of points to be scored here. So that's where I would be if I had the gun-to-the-head bet.
I was going to say either that or a happiness hedge,
Yeah.
Let's see what Washington. I'm trying to see what Washington's money line here is in this spot.
It was 220 when I looked at it a couple of days ago. I've thought about putting a little bit on that. It's not a very large bet, so it doesn't really matter in a hedging perspective.
Can you enlighten us on it, or unless it's
sure? No. It was a 15-1, and it's 20 pays 300. So we're not talking about massive amounts here, but I considered making a little bit on the minus 220 because I honestly, actually handicapping the game, I really think that Washington's going to win.
Well, the question is you have 50. You have what, $20 you said?
Yeah, 20 pays 300.
So you throw 110 on it on Washington, you make $50. If Washington wins, you make 30, and if what's their fucks win? Utah.
The Utes.
The two Utes.
The Utes.
If they win, you win a couple $100, $20, $200.
It's a consideration.
190, I guess.
It's a consideration. I don't like to hedge if I don't believe in the other side. I feel like you should make a bet and should be proper no matter what. And I actually do believe in the other side. I believe in Washington. So I very well may do it. Washington
is 3-9 against the spread, so it's not like Utah's in a bad spot here.
No, but they don't have. They have backups at important positions, and then Washington, the flip side, has 4-year seniors at important positions on offense. It gives me pause. I'm concerned about it.
Plus, obviously, they've already beaten the Utes. What 21-7?
Yeah. Well, Utah really threw that game away, and they did some really dumb stuff down the stretch. I thought that game was closer than what the final score was.
Fair enough. I think my pick is going to be with Utah. One, because I believe they can keep it close. Two, because now I'm rooting for you.
That's nice.
I don't think they're going to win this game either. I think you're right. I think 5.5 right now. It's probably a pretty good number. I think Utah can probably keep this within a field goal for 4 or 5 points. Hopefully this game, maybe by the time you have either heard this or by the time the game starts, the closing line may be up to 7. And does that make you feel a little bit better about that? Or if you go somewhere?
Technically, yes. I wouldn't be surprised if the money comes in on the favorite here. Yeah,
the other question is if the money comes in on the dog, that might take the money line down a little bit. Does that make your decision a little?
I probably would do it if the money line comes down. If it goes under 200, yes, I probably would. Because I agree with you. I don't think they're going to lose the game. So yeah, I hope they do, but I do think Washington's going to win. Yeah.
What do you think?
I think Washington. I do think Washington does win, but it's going to be a close game, low-scoring affair. 17-14, Washington with the win, but the Utes with the cover.
There we go. So we're all in the same sort of spot here. That's interesting. Yeah, fair enough.
An interesting thought is I didn't realize that Buffalo, excuse me, just by looking at Vegas Insider here, I didn't know Buffalo was part of the State Universities of New York.
The
Sunnies. I didn't know that. I thought it was its own. I guess that makes sense. But I'm like, who is Sunny Buffalo? I'm like, it's Buffalo. Oh, no, they're part of the State University of New York. I almost went to the State University of Nassau County.
Really?
Yeah, I was... when I didn't think I wanted to go to college, I wanted to move and go get into a career. And I have some family that lives on Long Island. And,
that makes sense.
Yeah, and they're like, you can go there, work for a year, and if you still want to go to college, you can just go to SUNY. Mm-hmm. It was SUNY, Nassau County. So.
It's funny. They call it SUNY, so I watch a lot of the games out in Green Valley Ranch on Saturdays, and there's a lot of New Yorkers that have moved and retired and what have you, and they always call them SUNY Buffalo. They don't call it Buffalo. They call it SUNY Buffalo. I always find it funny. Yeah, SUNY Buff or something like that. It's never just Buffalo. They always have the SUNY in front of all of these names. It's a thing with the New Yorkers. I find it kind of odd, but that's their thing.
Yep, SUNY Long Island, SUNY Nassau.
Yep.
SUNY Albany. All those.
All of them.
Nice.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I still like the Utes. I feel like the freshmen can kind of get it done there.
Oh, yeah, I hope so.
Because
these look good.
Yeah, Moss and Huntley are out, so we'll see. We're all kind of on a version of Utah, I guess. Because the thing is in the beginning of the year, I really liked Browning and Gaskin. And it's not like they've played terrible. I mean, it's just, I don't know. I mean, Gaskin's averaging over 100 yards. Browning's not having the greatest
he's been
senior seasons.
Downer, yeah.
I want to root for him. I don't know. Like you said, when you take two teams that have underachieved this year, I don't know what to take. I don't know what to do. Washington -5 doesn't sound like a terrible line either. It's a really good line. Mm-hmm. Let's just see. We're gonna have to see tonight or tomorrow night, depending on when you listen to this. Depending on listening to this podcast. So to recap, we're all on a version of Utah, and we're all on a version. Well, no, you're on Buffalo.
I am. I'm against you guys.
And we're on Northern Illinois.
That's right.
So. Although I do think Buffalo will win the game. So, in fairness,
it's true.
All right. Well, we appreciate you listening. Good luck with your bets on Friday in the Mac and Pac Championships, and we'll catch you on the next one.